Many of us come to India looking for something, seeking something, maybe seeking mental freedom or some kind of freedom. We may not even know how to describe it or what it is or know where to look or anything else, but this is what we may be looking for when we come to India. But in fact, every single moment of our life is the urge to freedom. So no matter what it is we're thinking, emoting, experiencing, all of our perceptions about everything that occurs is the urge to freedom. No matter what is coming up for us, it is the urge to freedom. We're looking for satisfaction and fulfillment in whatever occurs. And unless we know what everything is made of, we can never find satisfaction and fulfillment in what occurs. We have to know what it's made of. If there's an occurrence or an appearance, only if we know what it's made of, what it's comprised of, do we have any possibility whatsoever of understanding the appearance. Otherwise, we are completely lost, just completely lost in appearances. And so, what is everything made of? What is everything comprised of, no matter what it is? No matter what appears, it is comprised of space. So now today we can definitively show this in all kinds of ways, that whatever appears is comprised of space. We have all kinds of instruments that can show us that and all kinds of philosophies that talk about that. So we have things like electron microscopes and linear particle accelerators, and we can examine everything that is, blast it apart, and when we blast it apart, there's nothing there. There's nothing but space. So everything and all the particles it's compounded of are space and nothing else. Now, the fundamental error in human perception is that we are aware, that human beings are aware, and that awareness is generated by the biological mechanism called a human being. That through the workings of all these things going on in the body and mind and all the scientific descriptions of that awareness is generated somehow within the human organism. Yet if we look within the human organism, we can't really find any kind of specific location for awareness. We really can't find where that is. We can't find that about ourselves by which we know everything. So our human awareness is that by which we know everything. Yet if we look within or anywhere on the surface, we can't definitively state, well, this is where awareness is. We can't really find a location in the brain where it is, or in the big toe, or the little finger, or the heart, or anywhere. We can't really say, but this awareness is located anywhere. Now, when we consider that everything is comprised of space, then what is awareness comprised of? Awareness, too, is comprised of space, and these two are inseparable, space and awareness. So this idea that human beings generate awareness and that awareness is somehow associated with an individual and a personal identity is simply an erroneous perception. At this point in human history, we could even call it primitive. We could call it a primitive superstition. We know so much about the world and what it's made up of, but yet we know so little about ourselves and our own awareness. We're so adept at describing everything. Information is free, we say. All the pioneers of the internet say information is free. And indeed, information is free. All points of view, all information, no matter what it is free within the all-encompassing view of pure space, the all-encompassing view of awareness. But you see, making that key point that space is aware, or that all information is included in space, all it is a key point, unless there are other things that are completely and definitively understood about it. So the other things that need to be understood about it is, first of all, we need to understand the underlying implications of that statement. We need to understand the underlying implications of the key point that space itself is aware. And we not only need to understand the underlying implications but within ourselves, but we also need to embrace the broader scope of what that means. What does that mean when we really say that space itself is aware? And then lastly, even if we know the key point and the underlying implications and we can embrace the broader scope, unless we have a decisive experience of that ourselves, we can never come to a definitive conclusion about anything. So no matter what appears, unless we have a decisive experience of ourselves as space, vast and infinite space, that is entirely aware and that has never been made into anything because nothing exists separate from it, unless we have that conclusive and decisive experience that's permanent and fully evident, we can't possibly understand any appearance. Now, to take this a step further, if we look at things like our belief systems that we have about everything, no matter what they are, whether it's what we take ourselves to be or what we've believed in all of our lives, if we look at those, what can we say about all these belief systems, no matter what they are? The belief systems have no independent origin separate from space. They're points of view within the all-encompassing view of purely aware space. So all these belief systems, no matter what they may be, they have no nature independent of space, purely aware space. Every appearance, no matter what it is, has these two aspects. It is a vivid appearance, very distinct and clear with a label and such. Yet its essence, its nature, is nothing but pure space. So unless we know these two aspects about all appearances, we don't really understand the true nature of reality. And unless we have a decisive experience of that, we can't really understand the way things are, either for ourselves as individuals or for ourselves as a species. That's simply the way it is. So how do we come about having that decisive experience of pure space, the vast expanse of infinite space that's never been made into anything? That sounds pretty good, doesn't it? That it really sounds like that must be a lot of hard work. Wow, if we've had to effort so much to do so many other things in our lives, we're really going to have to pull out the stops on this one. We're going to have to go to any lengths, probably work forever for decades and do all kinds of things we don't want to do in order to realize something of this magnitude. It has to be, a lot harder than tying our shoes, learning to tie our shoes, or getting a PhD in string theory. It has to be a lot harder than that. So how do we go about it? What should we do? Where should we commit all of our energy and attention and discipline in terms of this decisive experience of the key point that space itself is aware? The very easy, definitive way to ensure that this decisive experience will occur for you is to rest as pure space. That's it. And unless there is rest as pure space, and there is the training in that without distraction by appearances, there is no chance whatsoever of realizing what is being talked about here. So the decisive experience is not something that needs to be attained because pure space is. It's just like I don't have to raise my foot for it to be in space. It already is in space, and it already is space. So when we just rest without elaborating on any of the appearances, without spinning out a story about what everything is and what its meaning and significance is, then we taste that essence of what we are. We taste it definitively. We taste it conclusively. We taste it decisively.